Welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and I've been thinking a lot about gaming and my time being able to play video games. And it's raining right now, I don't know if I really need sunglasses, but I don't know if I have lost my passion for gaming, but I just can't bring myself to starting a new game. So I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I remember when I was younger, I'd always tell myself, no, I'm never gonna get to be like my dad or my parents where I just stop playing games, or I'm sick of playing games, or I just don't have time to play them. But I found myself more and more doing other things. And that doesn't mean I don't love video games. It doesn't mean that I don't have a passion for them anymore. It just means that I don't have time for them anymore. And maybe this is just me coming to the realization of, unfortunately, getting to an adulthood where I have different priorities now. Where, unfortunately, making money is more important than playing video games. Caring for my family and spending time with them is more important than spending time with video games. And a balance is important for everything on pretty much every walk of life. But, like, for example, on Sunday of last weekend, I didn't really have anything going on besides, some football games to watch. My wife was at work. She's a nurse, so she's gone all day, and I was just watching the kids, and I'm like, I got the whole day ahead of me. I don't have anything on my schedule. I can do whatever I want today within reason. I mean, obviously, I still have to watch the kids with me and stuff, but I could do anything I wanted on Sunday. So I got my Legend of Mana collection, or the Secret of Mana collection, whatever it is, and I put that in my Switch, and I was like, okay, today is the day I get to play Seiken Densetsu 2, or whatever, the Trials of Mana, because I never really got around to playing that in full previously. So I put it in my Switch, got all set to play, got my kids breakfast, and then got distracted. And I was like, you know what, I'll get back to it later in the day. And then later in the day, I was like, do I really want to start a JRPG on a Sunday when I know I don't have time to play this over the next 5+ days? And at that point, run into the feeling of everyone's dreaded feeling with a JRPG of turning it on, not knowing where you even are, where you were going. I already knew that would happen. And I hate that feeling with a video game. If I don't know where I am, I just don't want to keep playing it, and I just never go back to it. So I was under the perspective of, if I don't start this game, I won't have that issue happen. And it deterred me from even starting the game, so I never even got around to playing it. I watched a couple football games, I played Mario Party with my kids on the Switch, but I never got around to playing Trials of Mana. And I really love role-playing games, but I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't have time to play the role-playing games. Not like I used to. Now, I mean, clearly I could put my whole life on hold and play through these games, but the sacrifices that I'd be making would be far too great for the value I'd be getting out of the game. It would be selfish. It would be not really thinking of others. It would be all about my own personal goals and wants and needs without considering anything else going on in my life. So because of that, I've had to, in a way, swear off JRPG games for a very long time. I mean, I'm talking, this goes back like 4 or 5 years type thing. Even when I was doing the YouTube as a full time, you couldn't do a JRPG. You couldn't, because the games would take too long and you wouldn't have time to play the other games you would try to stay on top of as well. One exception being the Secret of Mana remake, because that was like my all-time favorite game ever, and I really wanted to see the remake of that. But even playing through that was a chore. So JRPGs in general just don't mix with my life currently. And to a greater extent, video games in general. Like, yeah, I can play games that take less time and smaller doses, things like that. But it's really hard to bring myself to even turning the system on, knowing how much time it's going to take out of my life right now. And I don't even consider myself that busy of a person. Maybe I am, though. Maybe I just underestimate how busy I really am. Now that I have this full-time job and I'm working minimum 8 to 9 hours a day at it, plus drive time, plus taking care of the kids, plus spending time with my wife, watching TV shows, keeping up with what's going on in life, watching YouTube videos when I have a free downtime. It's really hard to squeeze time in for gaming. I mean, it was hard to do it when I wasn't working. So it's even harder when you do have a full-time job, trying to take care of your family and things like that. But it all comes down to prioritize. In the example I gave, it was Trials of Mana. The game's been around. Like, I had the English unofficial translated ROM on my computer for a decade. So it's not something that's brand new in my life. So it's hard to put a priority on a game like that when I've had it for so long. It's like, well, if I waited 10 years to play it, I can wait another 10. Whereas a game like, we'll say another JRPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake, when that comes out, I will be readjusting my plans and dropping a lot of things to prioritize that. But I can't do that with every single game because I wouldn't put any focus on my family at all. I wouldn't put any focus on my job. If I was just with every single game that I wanted to play that was coming out, putting the priorities on them, my life would be in absolute shambles. Though, to be fair, I'd be playing a lot of really fun games. It wouldn't be really worth the trade-off. Most likely. And to a greater extent, the issue with video game companies making these games, especially longer games, nowadays, like The Witcher 3 or Grand Theft Auto 5, any type of open world game, Breath of the Wild comes to mind. Like, all these games are fantastic experiences, really enveloping you in the environment and becoming a part of your world. Like, they are incredible. But damn, they take a lot of time to play them. And it's become a battle for your time. These video game companies know that your time is limited. But they also know they need to make a crazy engaging experience in order to sell you on the product. It's a very delicate balance. I have a buddy that loves playing video games, but he's in a similar situation that I am. I've known him since first grade. He bought Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 and never had time to play it, so he ended up selling it back. About a year later, he bought it again, never even opened the shrink wrap on it, and sold it again. The idea of playing the game was just as good as playing the game for him. The possibility of maybe someday I'll have the time to play this was powerful enough to make him buy the game multiple times and never get around to actually playing it. And I always thought that was funny. He's been far more dedicated with, let's say, employment and work ethic than I have in my life. But I've shifted my priorities ever since I had the family, and now I kind of see where he's coming from. Not to the extent of buying a game multiple times and never playing it, but knowing that I don't have the time to play these games that I really want to play. And maybe that's just a symptom of getting older and changing the priorities in your life. Like I said earlier, my dad didn't really play video games that much as he got older. I remember when I was a kid, he would play Tetris all the time. He had the Pong systems. He was really into video games way back in the day. Played Game Boy a lot, played Tetris on the Game Boy, Dr. Mario. He was really into puzzlers. But now, very rarely do I ever see my dad playing video games. I feel like I never was going to end up like that, and here I am ending up like that. It's just funny. When I was a kid, I always remember telling myself to never grow up, to never be that person that gave up on video games, that gave up on living the fantasy of a better life and imagination that would run wild. And the hard reality is, eventually, you do have to give that stuff up. Not completely, but you have to make some serious compromises. And a lot of people may not understand that. And I never really thought that was going to be the case. I always thought that I could win that battle. And this is me admitting defeat. But it's not a bad defeat. This is like, life is good. First world problems. I'm happy. I'm happy because of the choices I've been making. And sometimes the choices you make to put you in a direction of being more happy aren't the choices you envisioned at the start. Life's funny like that. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling at this point. I just want to throw my thoughts out there on not having time to play video games like I used to, while still having the passion for them. Does that make me a fraud? I don't think so. This makes me a good family guy. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.